Guys, so for the very first time ever on the channel, when you do look behind me, you can see 4 chicken houses and not 3. So 1, 2, 3, and finally number 4. And number 4 over there is our brand new poultry house on the farm. So I'll just go over and show it to you guys. Now, if you've been on the channel for a really long time, this could probably be getting boring for you because the houses all look the same. Now, for me, it's not boring because, interestingly, I always find a way of building the houses better. Just a little bit better than the previous time, yeah? Every reiteration just gets a bit better. And what that means is that, you know, I build stronger houses, longer lasting houses, but even better performing houses. And the interesting bit is that, okay, we're not completely done with the new house, which is right here. There are just a few things that are left, but interestingly, I think it's going to be cheaper than the previous 2 houses that I built. Only the first house turned out to be much cheaper than it. And I'm going to be showing you some of the changes that I have made on this house. For example, compared to, you know, the 3rd house, which we just finished, which is right here, yeah? So this is the 4th house. But before I show you the changes, I think it would just make sense to orient you guys so that you understand what's happening here, so that you can take, you know, a closer look and understand how this kind of chicken houses work. Because as you guys might see, these are the types of chicken houses I have around, and I'm using a deep litter system, and you might be wondering, why the hell am I using this type of, you know, chicken houses? But it's simple. It's because this type of chicken houses is cheap for me, yeah? I don't need to spend a lot of money on the construction of the chicken house, yet I get to use it for 2 stories, yeah? So currently, these houses here have the capacity to do 2,000 birds. I personally use them for 2,500 birds because I made the aeration quite good. I just know how to do it for 2,500. So I personally do 8 birds per square meter, but we're recommending for anyone, I tell them 6 birds per square meter. With time, you can always do this, but it also depends on where you're located. Where I'm located is not really, really hot. Even right now that it's been quite hot, it's like what, 31 degrees, and it's been like a proper dry season. So it's not so hot, I can get away with some of these things that a lot of other people can't get away with. So that's why I'm doing 8 birds per square meter, but it's exactly the same size, yeah? So that means it measures 20 meters by 8 meters. And just due to that, and having 2 floors, it simply means that for the space that I have built houses that now take up 10,000 birds, I would only have 5,000 birds right here, yeah? So because I'm going up, I get to save on that. Now you might say, hey, why don't you just use cages? Now if I'm to use cages, first of all, I can't do cages on a 2-floored chicken house. I've seen people do cages on a 2-floored chicken house, but I think that would require a way more expensive house, yeah, because cages are really heavy, and so I would require very, very strong materials, much stronger, most probably columns, not even poles like I use here, for me to be able to support that floor at the top. And then I would probably need to pour concrete at the top to be able to support that floor, which will make it astronomically expensive. It would just make more sense to even probably buy more land and just do it on the ground, yeah? So currently here I do have land. Land is not a problem. Actually, if I had decided to build all the houses as 1 floor right here, I would have enough space. It would probably be almost finishing my land, I mean going the other way, but it would still be enough, yeah? But then I can now, you know, use less space to cover up the same capacity. So I'm saving myself from cages because cages are very expensive. The structures that support cages are either expensive or I would have to do 1 floor. And also buying the cages themselves is expensive. So I get to use deep litter, which is a much cheaper system, but while saving up on space, yeah, which is a really good thing. So 10,000 birds, that's the capacity, you know, of the farm. This farm exactly right now, I have another chicken house where, you know, I started from, where my dad's house is, and right there I have a chicken house of 2,000 birds. I started with that. That was the very first chicken house I built. I built it so differently from this, but I'll just orient you guys. So there it is. Whew. Yeah, there it is. And I mean, my drone got issues, so you guys might not have any drone pictures for this video. Hopefully I'll have one back very soon, but you guys can see it right there. So you can see that we have a tank here. These tanks already supply this chicken house. Now they're also going to be supplying this other house. If you can take a close look, I'll just get close. You guys can see that we had already made a T-junction which was plugged on the other side. So one side supplies the other house, this other side is just going to supply this house. Something with the top, yeah? So the tank was already strategically placed to provide for that. Yeah. Another major difference before we even move away from here is you can see that we used brick right here. So on no other house had we used brick before. Yeah, it's only on this house that we have used brick. So you can see we put brick down, you know, to help us get the alignment. And you can also notice that this house is much higher in terms of altitude than the other one. Now it might be difficult for you to notice, but it is much higher, maybe a few inches higher. Yeah, and it's well and better supported on the floor right here, for example, compared to this one. Yeah, now of course this is already at a lower altitude, but even if I moved, you know, to the very bottom, the other side, you would notice that, you know, we built it quite differently. Yeah, so this is much better, I can say. Yeah, I can boldly say this is much better. Now we're going to move in. Yeah, so we'll start with right here. Okay, so this is our foot dip. The guys step inside here before they enter. Yeah, and this is to ensure that, you know, their boots are disinfected. Yeah, so when we do have chickens coming inside here and whatsoever, they're going to have to step inside here before they get in. Now I don't need to worry about that because right now we don't have any chickens in. You can see that we've already placed our door. Yeah, we've already placed our door. Now ideally, the best alternative for a door would be that the door should open outwards. But the guys are so used to doors opening inside, so I just decided to keep in touch. I mean, the very first one was a mistake. Yeah, I didn't know on the first one that the doors should open outside. But then I just went with this, and the guys are just so used to this that I decided to go ahead with it, and I mean, they don't have a problem with it. The other thing that would make it difficult to open the door outward would be the foot dip. So we would have needed to place the foot dip just a bit back so that, you know, they can step into the foot dip, then they would probably step on, you know, maybe concrete or something like that, and then open the door. But we didn't do that, so they have to open the door backwards. You can see, so these are the sides, very nicely aerated. Yeah, so this height from right here to this over here, which is the space where air comes in from, is 4 feet. Yeah, and then from the bottom to the iron sheeting right here is 3 feet. Yeah, so we have 3 feet of iron sheeting right there, and that provides us with you know, great aeration inside here. Yeah, it's really nicely aerated, very nicely aerated. You can see that we have a concrete floor, and the purpose of the concrete floor is to ensure that the chickens don't dig. Chickens are very good at digging. Yeah, when you put litter inside here, they'll just keep scratching the litter. Before you know it, they'll reach the floor. And one of the biggest problems I had in my first house was this floor. The chickens would get to the floor, get to, you know, the maram, which was there, the soil, and then they start scratching it out, and that, you know, risks introducing diseases onto the farm. You can see the balance of the chain link that we had used on the farm. This is it. And then now I can show you how the structure is supported. Yeah, if this is probably your first time, I don't know, I'll probably move this side. Yeah, to show you guys how the structure is supported. So we have 2 columns, I would say, 2 columns. Yeah, so this is the main supporting column, the one that goes all the way to the top. Yeah, so it comes from quite deep into the ground, and you know, we raise it all the way. Yeah, now we have very many of them, as you can see, all around the house, and they support the structure. Now we also have a secondary one. This doesn't come from deep in the ground. That is why you see that currently it's being tied to this one. Now ideally it should be, you know, hit together using hoop iron, just like you see these others. Yeah, but I think we ran out of the hoop iron, so we need to get them so that we hit them together, because if it's just tied with a wire, it's not well supported. Yeah, so it needs to be hit together using hoop iron, just like you see right here. And what the advantage of this one is that it supports what would be the beams. Yeah, so you see this, which is running, it sits on top just like that, just like you can see it right there. It sits on top, and then it runs all the way. It runs all the way, so that this other pole, which is ideally the beam, sits on top of it. Yeah. Now, if we didn't have this, we would have to just hammer a nail through from this and to this. First of all, this distance is really long, or maybe use a bolt, and bolts are really expensive. But even then, even with the bolts, all the weight would be on the bolt. Yeah, simply through a hole, which I feel, you know, is not strong enough. So having a weight or a support from under which just supports that weight is actually a great idea. Yeah, and it's what we decided to go with, and it's what we are using currently. Yeah, so that's how we are supporting it that way. And then we'll very quickly take the ramp so that I take you guys, to the top floor so that you can see how it works out. Okay, so we'll just get out, take the ramp. The ramp is also not completed yet because we should have small pieces of wood running here to ensure that the guys, don't trip and fall. And I feel like the angle here was so steep this time out. Yeah, I hope the people won't fall. The door here hasn't been placed, but you can see that the timber has been placed down here. So people keep asking in my YouTube videos, how do you, support the floor? How do you place the floor? Is it concrete or what? No, as you can see, it is timber, just timber all the way through the other side. Now we still have a few spaces. Ideally, this is what is left. Yeah, putting the timber down here is all that is left in this house, nothing else. And it's because the supplier of the timber didn't bring it on time. Yeah, and the other reason, by the way, that this house was a bit cheaper is because the iron sheet was much cheaper than the last time when I bought. The timber, though, was just a little bit, no, it was actually the same price. Despite the fact that the prices have gone up, I managed to negotiate and get a good deal, yeah? So this is the space left. So what happens is that once we place the timber together, you can see that we do have small tiny spaces that are left. So what we do is that we get plywood and put it on those small tiny spaces to try and cover up the spaces. And I mean, the plywood will cover up those spaces nicely because if you can see right here, someone can very normally step on it, and because most of the structural support is actually provided by the wood and not the plywood, it won't even break or anything like that. Yeah, so that's the importance of those, little tiny plywood strips that you see that are brought around. Yeah, so the only thing that we are left with at the moment is finishing up with this, finishing up the timber, and then we are going to immediately start doing the plumbing for the chicken house so that the birds can come in. I mean, they have about 2 weeks to come in. Today is what, the 5th? They should be coming in 2 weeks from now. So we still have a bit of time. We're going to put in the wood shavings and then start disinfecting, probably hire 2 more staff to help working on the house. And then we're going to have our new flock of birds on the farm. So I'm really excited about it, very excited about it. So tell me, if you do have any questions about this structure of mine, let me know in the comment section below. I'll do get time and go through it and answer some of the questions. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell, that way you never miss out on an upload. Catch you very soon with another video. Lots of love, bye bye.